colour-blind. I knew I would be late again. Our fourth date. Always the same. It could not be subliminal self-sabotage. Sven was wonderful. Everything a girl should admire. For starters, he owned his own spread. All 3,000 acres of it. Not that she was a material girl, but that does swing the favour. It was really his walk that got her in. From across the street she saw the way he swayed into each step. Confident and let's face it, and sexy. The complete, successful, marauding Viking. All of him was good, but when she got close enough that she could see into the depths of those blue, blue eyes, okay, so she simply drowned. It took a whole week for her to secure a date. Then she messed it up. Not her fault. Then she messed it up the second. And the third. Always fate intervened. But she was persistent. This time it has just got to work out. He was barbecuing wallaby steak at his place, so if she got to be a little late it would be okay. She had the wine to soften the mood. Sven was full of passion. Everything mattered. The wheat crop this year was the best. The motor guzzy he had parked in the garage next to the J.D. Deere harvester was the best. The string of quarter horses used for mustering the Garanda Santa Gertrudis were definitely the best. But best of all were Bob and Joe, the champion blue heelers. Yep, all those superlatives also applied to Sven. Only downside she could tell so far was his cuddles. Although passionate, his steely muscles were not the softest to nestle into. It reminded her of the unforgiving stiffness of her childhood china doll when all she had wanted was a fat old teddy bear. She would not be very late this time. 10 minutes late was okay. She was beginning to relax. She enjoyed the scenery on this road. Way overhead she could make out the movement of some hitchhiker. She wouldn't pick him up. That sort of thing was safe once, but not these days. Getting closer she noticed there was no backpack, only a small suitcase. What self-respecting hippie would be seen with a suitcase? And he was not ambling aimlessly. He was almost jogging with a determination to reach a set destination. He had the look of someone in trouble. Her nursing nature called for her to render aid. Stopping behind him, she called, "Need a lift?" He did not even smile. "I have to get to Brisbane tonight." Well, at least he was not trying to coerce her with bullshit charm. Sorry, I am only going as far as Yarraman Turnoff, if that will help." "Thanks, anything." He seemed surly and somewhat annoyed. She opened the door and he clutched the small suitcase onto his lap. For the next 5 minutes there was no conversing. She sensed he was agitated, but he leaned back in his seat and closed his eyes. Finally she asked, "Are you okay?" "Yeah, just bloody tired." She noticed his hands, calloused and sinewy, capable of anything. They were passing through the state forest. He wound down his window and she watched as he took deep breaths of the fresh leaf mould smell after the day's rain. Ahead, slightly to the left, an arch of rainbow framed the trees. She saw that he felt for the land as she had. He began to relax, and almost smiled slipped sideways. "What are you doing in these parts?" The worry returned to his deep brown eyes. "I couldn't get work in Brizzy and heard for a job at Dolby." "And it didn't work out?" "Nah. Good work, good pay, nice boss. But I got a message from the hospital. My wife has gone into early labour." "You're married? It must have been hard to leave your wife behind." Now his face came alive. All fatigue and worry left him. He turned to face her fully, with shining eyes, idiot. Nah, she told me it would all work out. Said once the job was right, she would follow. She is brave and strong. She knows where we belong, where we can be a real family with our baby. Now this man, who she had judged to be surly and barely capable of polite discourse, opened up and let it rip. Words of love and pride flowed and tumbled in a stream for this soon-to-be mother. They were nearly at her turn-off. On an impulse, she knew what had to be done. "If I could drop you off at the service station, you will be in time to catch the bus to Brisbane. Would that be better?" "Yeah, oh yeah. I could see Bessie tonight." Well, again fate had diverted her from a romantic evening. As she drove up his drive, she saw Sven standing by the veranda. He did not look pleased. "Well, what was it this time?" "No, hello. Straight into it." "Sorry, Sven. I needed to take a little detour." "Why?" "There was this hitchhiker, see, and—" "You picked up a hippie?" "No, not exactly. He looked like he was in trouble. He needed help." She held out the wine, but the offering was ignored. "You didn't need all that time to play the hero. What did he look like?" "Oh, I don't know. He didn't have a backpack. He carried an old suitcase." "Don't mess about. Tell me, how old was he?" "I didn't notice. Younger than I, but then he could have been older." "Was he brunette or blonde?" "Does it matter? He was just a guy." "You can't pick up strangers. He could have murdered you or something." Sven was not a happy chappy. "You must have noticed something about the man who sat beside you for at least half an hour." "Yes. I thought he was kind, intelligent. He loves the bush, and I know some day he will be a very good dad. What more should I have noticed?" She began to turn away from him, and in an instant she recalled a glaring feature. "Oh yeah, I remember. He was black." It didn't turn out with the Viking. He realised she was far from his idea of the best.